from Jamaica. Yes.
She gon' show love today. Come on and tune in now. Tune in to Candace Talks. Come on and tune in now. Tune in to Candace Talks.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this. I think it helps to break up everyone's mental space to stop thinking about that for a second and concentrate on something else. I know I really wanted to have you on because I know your story, I know your testimony, and it's so powerful. I don't know if everyone knows that side of Carvin, so I want people to kind of meet that Carvin today a little bit. I'll try not to push too much, but I definitely will push a little bit, and we'll get into it. So for those of you, I see people popping on. Hi, let me see. Hello from California. How are you? Thank you for joining us. All right. So for those of you who are not familiar with who this man is, which you should be, shame on you. Carvin Haggins has worked with a multitude of entertainers, all the way from Will Smith, Jill Scott, Justin Timberlake, Mary J. Blige, Chris Brown, and trust me when I tell you the list goes on. I just don't have time to name everyone on this list. I think it's amazing. Over 21 Grammy nominations, 11 ASCAP awards, and 2 Grammy wins for Jill Scott and Lil Wayne. This is who we are talking to today, people. This is what we have. So, Carvin, just say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone who's listening, everyone who's watching. I hope you are holding it together, not getting cabin fever and trying to find the ways to occupy these hours because they can seem pretty long.
Those are a whole lot of hours. So yeah. we only have an hour. So there's a lot to cover in an hour. No, we probably can't get to every single thing, but I want to get to the meat of who Carvin is and how Carvin started, from the little kid growing up to the teenager to the man that sits before the world now and actually is the greatness behind most talents out there that people just don't know about. So I want you to introduce us to this Carvin.
Wow. All right. So that Carvin was a mess. Oh my God. So that Carvin, that's Martin Luther King High School Carvin. And at that time, I was a rap artist in Philadelphia, and just aspiring to do rap music and wanted to be the best rapper in the world, actually. So this Carvin was figuring out life, just trying to find his way, trying to figure out what makes sense, knowing that I was more inclined to do what I wanted to do, which is music, versus going to get a 9-to-5 and any of that stuff. So I kind of had my mind made up. It's funny because there's an article in the yearbook, in our school yearbook. And in that yearbook, I talked about being an artist, and I talked about wanting to have my own, well, not wanting, going to have my own record label and my own studio, as well as my own artist. And that was 16-year-old Carvin talking.
But guess what? Even though that was 16-year-old Carvin, look at what Carvin spoke into life, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I never had a shred of doubt of what I was going to do, and what I wanted to do is just finding avenues of getting it done and figuring out how to actually execute the thought. You know what I mean?
Right. And you actually did that. So what was growing up like? Because your story is just, it blessed me when you told me, when I heard about it. So just kind of give us a run through of what that looked like. You have such a powerful testimony, and it's a testimony that will touch lives. It's a testimony that will change people. And it's a testimony to those that are stuck and don't know how to get unstuck, or they're in that space and they're like, I just want to give up right now. You know what I mean? Let us
Yeah.
know about that, Carvin.
Well, the Carvin that's in that picture he had just been through quite a few different things. At 15, 16 years old, I was homeless, and not at any fault of my mother or anybody. Me and my mom wasn't getting along, and I basically felt like I knew it was better for me than she did, and she probably was right, but I chose to go the way I wanted to go, which was choosing to leave and take my chances, betting on me. And actually, what's funny is that's the way my whole life is um, I guess, unfolded. Me betting on me versus doubting what I'm able to do. So at that time, I was homeless for quite a few years, and then my father found me, and he kind of got me back to enroll in high school again. So I went back to school, graduated with honors, and from there I began to seek out what was the best route for me to go in order for me to reach success of being my own entrepreneur versus being an employee of somebody.
And what I love about it is the fact that you didn't give up.
Oh no, I couldn't. It's impossible. You know what's funny is years ago, I saw an interview where Will said he doesn't have a plan B, right? If you have a plan B, you're planning for your plan A to fail.
Right.
And it's funny. I mean, basically what he did was say what, and I mean Will Smith. What I'm saying is what he said was what I did. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have my fallback. I never planned on my fallback because if you plan on your fallback, that's exactly what you're going to do, fall back.
Right.
So yeah, I never thought about that. It's like it's all or nothing. Everything goes or nothing goes at all. But everything's gonna go because I'm gonna make it go. So yeah.
Amen. Amen to that. So that was the beginning of this kid into who you actually are today. And it's not so bad. Are those gazelles?
Look, I wouldn't change anything. You know, people always ask you if you could go back and change anything, what would you change? Absolutely nothing. 'Cause everything that happened for a reason, and growing to become who you are and loving that person who you are, it doesn't make sense to go back and change anything because I might not like me if I change something.
I think what I always seem to get from you when you are talking is you had a plan, and you
Yeah,
stuck to it. And no matter what came in your way, whatever obstacle, like you took it, you ran with it. And that was it. You weren't giving up.
yeah.
So now we're gonna move up a little bit because I love this picture. I know that you don't know what's in my arsenal right now. I know you don't know. You don't know what's about to pop up, but this really got me. And I want you to talk to everybody about this time, the beginning of it, and what that meant to you. So here we go. Just
so
uh-huh.
so what's happening here is going from wanting to be a rapper, I started. I used to be down North Philadelphia, which is a rough part of town, and I had a different occupation at that time. But in the course of that, things happened. I fell sick, and then I moved to New Jersey. And then moving to New Jersey, I met this guy named Harold Russell, who actually I used to record out of his studio. He had an internship there. It was called Up and Up Productions. So, I went by, asked him, yo, my man, I need you to let me be an intern here. And he was like, man, I don't have any openings. You know what I mean? I'm sure, because we was a little bit trouble if you can add. So he was like skeptical. And I was like, my man, listen, if you don't give me this opportunity, I'm gonna end up going back to North Philly, and most likely I'm gonna die down there, or somebody's gonna have to die. So he gave me the opportunity to intern at his studio. And while we were interning at his studio, we went to a record pool on 21st and Christian, which is in Philadelphia. And when we got there, it was snowing and everything, and DJ Jazzy Jeff was in the building. So, he was looking at our jackets. We had Up and Up production jackets, and he was looking at us like, yo, And then he came over. He's like, yo, y'all the guys that do the commercials for Power 99 FM. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, yo, take down my number. You know, we definitely need to link up, whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. And he left, and me and Harold was still inside the place for the record pool. And so while we were in there, I was like, yo, if Jeff outside, dude, I'm about to go talk to him because we need to really link with him. So he's like, all right, man, we bigger than Jeff. I was like, nah, Jeff is getting thrown out the door every Monday night on NBC. We're not bigger than Jeff. You know what I mean? It was like, so we need to really find out how to lock in with him. And so when we got outside, Jeff was sitting outside in his yellow Pathfinder, went over, said something to him, got his number. And from there, kind of like nurtured the relationship, checking in on him, making sure he was cool and, you know, going to play music for him. And then finally kind of got the companies to come together. So when we came together, Jeff was forming his new company, A Touch of Jazz, which was myself, Darren Henson, Keith Pelzer, Andre Harris, and Vidal Davis, and my partner, Ivan Barrios. So he was putting together this camp. So we started working for the camp, and we started creating music. And in the time that we were creating music, people were like, you know, Jeff is washed up. He's not doing anything. He's a washed up sidekick. And we were down there, and then, you know, of course, they were criticizing our music, like, yo, these guys are trash. You know, it was all kinds of nonsense. But what ended up happening was Will was in retirement, and he came out of retirement and was like, yo, man, I think I'm going to do another album. So Jeff was like, come down here and work with the guys, and let's see what we come up with. So Will came down, and we worked on the album Big Willie Style. And in the process of doing that, Darren Henson created a song called So Fresh, and Will loved the record. And that picture is the video, is the characters in the video. So at one point of the So Fresh video, him and Jeff is dealing with this button that's like a time machine button, and Jeff pushes the button, and they go back in time. So when they go back in time, all of these characters are there, and who you're looking at right now is Karvsky Love, Draysky Love, and Visky Love, and they are the Love Brothers. They are old rap group. They're the old rap group that guys that never got on, that really wish they were on. And so these are the characters. And I want you to know that those teeth that's in the mouth of those guys, right?
I'm going to so you can see.
Yeah, that was done way before Jerome, right? So before Romy Rome, these guys right here existed. And I'm not going to say that Boom stole our idea. I'm just saying that them guys was there before Romy Rome.
I think you kind of said it just a little bit. But
no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. No, I will not say that.
We're going to act like we didn't. We're going to act like we didn't. Yeah. It's funny because you've worked with all these people and you have all this under your arsenal. And what I love about you the most is that you're so humble and you carry yourself in that way. Because I think if people really understood the magnitude of who Carvin is, as a professional, as an artist, as someone who is just constantly evolving, it would blow people's mind away, you know? There's so much more to you than you're saying right now. And I'm gonna need you to bring it out.
Yeah, all of this, everything that has happened was leading up to where we're going. So
yeah, definitely. So let me ask you, at the time of all this, were you a believer?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I was Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not born into the Muslim faith, but my mom became Muslim when I was 3 years old. So at this time, I was definitely practicing Islam.
Okay. All right. But you still had you still had enough faith in you. Like God already had handpicked you and said, you know, you right there, you're going to do great things.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. You know, what's funny is for me, what was necessary is that I had to go through the Muslim faith to get to Christ. You know what I mean? Because for what it required, and being a Muslim is maintaining a certain form of dignity, a certain form of self-respect, a certain form of mindset, right? Definitely a kingdom mindset in Islam. You know, we're taught to be kings. We're taught that you're not descendants of slaves, you're descendants of kings. And we're, you know, there's a different way of thinking, of
Mhm.
respecting yourself and trying to make sure that you keep yourself covered and make sure that, you know what I mean, you women are held at a certain a high regard, and so it's strict enough, especially for someone like me who needed a strict regiment
Right.
and authority to
Hmm.
stay there. Like Islam was perfect for me, and it helped lead me to Christ.
That's amazing because you really don't ever actually hear anyone who put it in that type of perspective. It's usually just a bashing down of, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
this is better, that's better, this is the way, that's the way. But there's so many different avenues, and not to make this all about religion right now, but there's so many different avenues that do lead to Christ. You know,
right. Yeah,
and I think it's important to leave those spaces open.
yeah,
Well, now going into that, because here's something else that I learned that was pretty interesting about you. You're also a pastor.
yeah, yeah,
So you went from Islam to Christian pastor.
yeah, yeah.
What did that look like and how did that happen?
Well, so in the course of working on Musiq SoulChild's second album, it was like a very, very stressful moment. And it was because music was coming into his own and figuring out himself as an artist and what he wanted to do versus what was necessary to be done because of the audience that he gleaned, right? So
Mm-hmm.
instead of kind of weaning them into the change of being the Musiq SoulChild that he wanted to be, he was trying to jump directly in it. So the second
Wow.
album was kind of like a battle of not letting him grow up too fast or grow up faster than his audience. So it was like a stressful moment. So in the course of that project, once we were done, I just got on the plane and went to Atlanta. And I had my assistant at the time, with assistant of the studio, Stacy Mack. And I was like, Stacy, I need you to find me a nice B&B in Atlanta, and I'm out. So I went to the airport, got on the plane, and when I got to Atlanta, I drove to the Airbnb. Well, not the Airbnb, but it was a B&B. So I got to the B&B, and it was horrible. So I was like, yeah, can you find me a 5-star hotel? That'll probably work out better. So, so I ended up going to the 5-star hotel. And while I was there, I had a friend that lives in Atlanta named Les Lewis, right? So she was there, and I was just chilling for 2 days. I was chilling, and I called. I was like, "Yo, Les, what you doing?" She was like, "I'm getting ready to go take care of these old ladies who are friends of my grandma." I was
Uh,
like, I was like, come get me. I love to go, right? So we ended up, she ended up coming and picked me up, and we went over to Mother Green's house. And so we got there. Mother Green was telling us about her property and how her and her husband lived there in Stone Mountain, and how the Ku Klux Klan used to rally out there in their
uh,
backyard and all kinds of stuff, and how her husband used to sit on the porch with his guns, him and his brother, because they were in the army when the Ku Klux Klan would ride by to go do what they were doing. But
wow.
anyway, yeah. So they had an ice cream parlor slash beauty parlor, and she used to give ice cream to the kids, and or her husband would give ice cream to the kids, and she would do the women's hair in the neighborhood. And then her husband passed, and so she took the ice cream beauty parlor and turned it into a prayer house. And so she
Oh,
was like, "Yeah, it's beautiful." It's like, "Okay, cool." She was like, "You guys would like to see it?" And I was like, "Nah, not really." You know, she was like, "No, no, you really should see it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to." You know, it's a place where people go pray. I don't belong here. You know what I mean? So she was like, "No, you gonna go see it." So she handed me the key, and me and Les go walk through the prayer house, and it was like beautiful what this woman took her money and did for the community. And it was, they could knock on the door, get a key, and go and pray. But when I was in there were like these big industrial fans all around the prayer house, and I was like, man, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the fact that these old ladies were being here praying, and it can get hot in there. So when I got back to Philly, I called Les and I was like, listen, find out what it's going to cost to put central air and heat in the prayer house, and then bill me for it. Just you get it done and bill me. So she got it done, and I paid for it, and that was it. And so the following year, on 9/11, I got a letter in the mail, and the letter was like, I didn't even know who it was from. I got the letter, and I'm reading it, and just to summarize, the letter was like, if you're not saved, get saved, because God wants to use you. And I was like, it was like 10 pages, and while I was reading, all I could hear was this kind of tapping on the paper while I was reading. And then when I finally got to the last page, I looked down and realized that I was crying.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and I'm not really the guy that cry. I don't shed tears. Some things, especially in Islam, it's like that's not what you do. If it's a problem, you fix it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You express yourself that way. But so at that point, I was like, all right, God, whatever you want. So I folded up the paper, and I went to James Poyser, who was one of my friends, and who was saved. And I was like, yo, James, I'm thinking about getting saved. He's like, Carl, man, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, and then after I left him, I talked to Andre Harris and Vidal Davis, who are like my brothers as well. And they was like, yo, Carl, you got like if that's what God's calling you to do, like you should do it. But I really had I had no doubt that I was doing it. It was getting done, But I just was running it by them, but trying to feel where I would go. If I would go to Dre and Vidal's church or James' church. So in our studio, Keith Pelzer was one of the guys. His father was a pastor, and when things would go wrong, Keith would be like the peacemaker. Right? I would be ready for war, and Keith would be like Mr. Peace, right? So I was like, I want that type of peace. So I ended up going to Keith's church, his family church, and that's where I got saved.
Wow. There's nothing like the peace of God, and
Oh no.
and only a peace that He can give you through any storm. So how did that interact now with you working with Musiq SoulChild?
But it didn't change anything, because what's funny is that like everything that I do and everything that I've done is honest. You know what I mean? It's not fabricated. It's not
Right.
over sexualized. It's not exploiting our people. It's none of that. So everything that I believe is still everything that I was doing anyway. What's crazy is that during the time of all of this, I was trying to find peace. Like I would go to the mosque and end up leaving the mosque and be more upset, right? Because you go to the Nation of Islam, you're gonna learn about Black Power and the White Devil, and when you leave out there, you be ready to choke some white people. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening was, it's like I just couldn't find peace. But after I got saved, like literally, I stopped cursing. Not even trying to. It just stopped. Stop cursing and like being mad to fly off the handle immediately.
Right.
It was like all of that was subsided. So definitely peace. There was a peace that surpassed all understanding. So with that, I just continued to create exactly what I was creating. And it's crazy that working on Musiq's first album, the song that stapled my career is Love, right? And every Christian that hear that song is like, man, that song's about Jesus. And when they would say that, I'll be like, yeah, I'll be the first Muslim to get a Dove Award. You know what I mean? And so after it was all said and done and I got saved, God has a powerful way of instructing you places to go to in the Bible to read. And I was led to the book of James first, just to get the idea of what a Christian looks like. Right. And then I was led to the book of Peter. And when I was led to that book, inside that book, it said God is love and love is God. So it's like the most amazing thing is that when I didn't know God and I was his enemy, he still helped my career.
Right.
Yeah, he still took care of me when I was yet a sinner, yet an enemy. He gave me a song about him that, again, I know nothing about him, but the song resonates to every Christian. Like that is about Jesus. So he revealed himself to me, but not only that, he put my career on his back. So even now, from 2000, from 1998 till now, right? My career has been supported on love songs,
Right. You,
right?
yeah, I mean, you a love song guru.
Right. Hey, listen, man. This is all instructed by God. Like all of them are love songs to Him anyway. I write all of my songs to God. It sounds like it's to a woman or in relationships, but it's really my relationship with God. So
But you know how to make it about him. And here's the thing about it too. You've come in contact with you can't even name the people that you've come in contact with, the greats, the Chris Browns, um, everybody. Like I want, like I'm seeing because I went through and I looked at your discology, your itinerary, not your itinerary, but
discography.
yeah, and it's so much. It's so much people, it's so many different labels. But as you're coming in contact with all those people, I like to think that you're also sowing a seed as you go along. Because here,
Absolutely.
yeah, because here it is, you stand for Christ and you stand for righteousness. The old person has passed away. God said all things become new, right? So some come to plants, some come to water. So you have such a big picture in all of that, and it shows in your music.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I live by that. Like you, I'm not working with any artist that's just coming in that's talking reckless and not building a
Mhm.
mindset or building a community. I'm not for it, and I don't need that money. Like to me, that's bad money. I don't need that money. If we can find a way to elevate, then that's what I want to do. And before, when I used to have a studio in my home, artists would come to my house and stay. And one of the parts of our routine is that on Wednesday we go to Bible study, and on
Mm.
Sunday we go to church, and we'll do it that way. And then we'll create, and at the same time, and create some great timeless music. And what's funny is, and this is just how God works, right?
Right.
So Kaylani, the artist Kaylani, came to my house, and she stayed for 3 weeks, and then she left, and then she came back again. So she went to church with me quite a few times, and we
Wow.
worked on some stuff. And then she went to become famous, and what literally just last summer, not even, my daughter was out in LA about to work with her. So my daughter texted me like, Dad, I'm about to shoot Kaylani. Didn't you work with her? I said, yeah, I worked with her. And she's like, well, um, I'm gonna tell her that I'm your daughter. And I was like, yeah, She was like, what you think she's gonna say? I said, well, she should know who I am.
Right.
I said, she acts funny, just call me while you're there and put me on the phone with her. And so the day went on, and my daughter didn't hit me back. So I texted her like, hey, how did everything go? And she was like, oh, everything went good in the text message. And I was like, when you told her, you told Kaylani who you were, did she act funny? She was like, no. And then she texted me. And the text said that she said you're the reason why she believes in God.
What?
Yeah,
Oh wow. See, I would have never. First of all, I love her music.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Her,
she's a little racy in these days, but
yeah, but she just has this like presence,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it comes across as so genuine and so
yeah,
pure.
yeah. Her heart is good. Like she's a really good person. Like really, really good person.
That's amazing. I know we're gonna move forward a little bit because that's how quick time goes by. Now, I don't know too many people that can say they've had one Grammy nomination or even two, but 21, Carvin, 21.
Listen, this has nothing to do with me. This is God's business, really.
Yeah.
I don't claim none of this stuff for myself. So if you see the humility, it's the humility of
Yeah.
me not, I don't own this. This isn't me. This is God. I know what my capabilities are, and I know what my limitations are, and I know that everything that I have accomplished is beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way I could take credit for it like I own it, you know.
What does that feel like? I mean, do you even remember getting the first nomination? What was that like?
So here's how, and this may sound as
Mhm.
it may sound like removed,
Right.
but I honestly don't even care about any of that stuff.
That's good.
I really don't. Like
That-
we got it and it was good. It was the first time, don't get me wrong, it was
mhm.
good because you feel like you're being recognized for doing something
Right.
that people thought you were crazy for doing, and to
Right.
be in a room with a group of people that you look up to and you honor in their work, and what they've done in their art. But after you walk through and you look behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz and you see behind the curtain, like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is all fluff. We could, instead of doing this, how about we take all of this money we raise and go feed a country, or how about we go take care of poverty instead of walking around and peacocking and putting on your best suit and trying to look as good as you can for people and cameras. How about we look better by helping a generation?
Mhm.
So it's good that it's happening. It definitely gives you a footing to be able to go in and change communities and build and change businesses and change politics. But at the same time, I'm not really big on the show. I love being invisible.
And you know what? That same attitude and that same disposition that you take is why you continue to be blessed and why you'll continue to shine and rise. But not only that, that same mindset took you to a whole nother country to do something that's absolutely remarkable. Go ahead
Yeah.
and tell us what that plan entails.
Well, what's funny is, it started off with music, right? So
Hmm.
music is the, I would say, is the key to unlocking every door, right? God said your gift will make room for you. So if you
Hmm.
exercise your gift, you'll notice the size of the room get bigger, right?
Woo!
So what's crazy is that my uncle called me, and I was helping my uncle out with my cousin, who was a recording artist. So I was giving him advice and helping him out. And one day he sent me this picture of a hotel in the
Right.
island of Curacao, and he was like, "You like that? What do you think about that? Give me your." He's like, "Give me something. What do you think about that?" So I was like, "This is pretty dope. What is it?" So he's like, "Oh, it's a hotel. It's right downtown Curacao, and there's another one that's like a lodge on the west side of the island, and this and that." So he's talking about. I'm like, "Yo, this is really dope. This is interesting." And he was like, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "Definitely." So he was like, "All right, good. That's good. All right, so all right, I'm working on something. I want to see if we can make it happen. If you in, then I'm in." I said, "I'm in. Let's go." So we went back and forth for like a couple of weeks about the hotel, talking to different people who could help with financing. So my uncle David Wallace is his name, and so David said, "Yo, I got a friend named David White who could probably help us out." So he brought David White in. So Carvin, David, and David are now figuring out what we're going to do, right? So while we're trying to figure out what we're going to do, a friend of ours named Gary, who's now the president of our group, the Haggins group in the island of Curacao. So Gary Barrage is calling us like, "Yo, you guys have to come to the island." We're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll get there." He's like, "No, you guys have to come.
Mhm.
People need to see you. They need to know that you're real." We're like, "Yo, we're doing it. We're in it. We're good." And he's like, "No, you have to come."
They need to see.
So, right, right. They need to see you. Make sure this is not a farce, right? So finally, I get on the plane and I go down there, and David White and David Wallace goes as well. So when we get there, the three things I wanted to do first, I wanted to meet with the people, I wanted to meet with the church, and I wanted to meet with the politicians. and I wanted to get a feel for the island to know what's going on, like what's needed, how can we help, what can we help with, outside of buying a hotel. I'm not really interested in having a hotel on an island and basically milking the island for their money. So it's like, how could we take the money that we're making and invest back into the community and rebuild everything in the vicinity of the island and move forward to help everybody live a great life? How do we do that? So, I talked to, we talked to the Minister of Economics, and then we talked to the Minister of Justice, and they connected us with the Prime Minister. And once we spoke with them, they were like, yo, if you guys are serious about helping this country, then we are behind you.
Wow.
So it started as 2 hotels. Now we are filming a TV show there. A TV show is coming in to help finance schools, and they have very incredible baseball team there, kids baseball, little league baseball team. And so we're looking at finding funding for that, rebuilding soccer fields, and really just trying to help the infrastructure of the country and just rebuild it and make it a better place for them, as well as while we're doing business. And my mission is really people over profit. How do we help the people get to a financial status or financial security that they don't have to worry about being poor or being impoverished? And the country is not impoverished. The crime rate is 1%. There's 160,000 people there. So it's like, how can we make everybody rich? That's my goal. Like, how can we make everybody on this island rich? Right. So that's what we're working on.
And I think that's great, because when you hear about small islands like that, what usually happens, you have big real estate investors that come in from different places, and they build all these big properties and everything else, but they're taking away essentially from the people, right. Taking land. It seems like you're bringing in jobs, but if you're not empowering the people that actually live there,
right,
you're taking from them.
Yeah. What's crazy is that I went to Jamaica years ago, and
Careful.
I know. I'm honestly, I felt bad being there, because it's just like, you get carted in this van, and you go into this resort, and it's caged off from the people. And when the people get off of work, security has to walk them off the property. And it's like, yo, this is their island. Like, yo, I don't even agree with that. And I do understand that tourism is what feeds the people. But at the same time, it's like, yo, that's not cool to go in somebody else's country, take their land, build what you want to build on it, and then rope it off and tell them that they can't come in that area. Like, to me, that's just not cool. So we got plans for, once we're done with Curacao, to move to Aruba, to move to Jamaica, to move to Trinidad, and really, like, the goal is how do we help our people get rich, so they don't have, so the crime rate everywhere can be 1%.
Right. Yeah. But when you think about that, isn't that a form of genocide? I mean, that's not just something that happens. I mean, it happens in the Caribbean a lot, but it happens right here.
Oh no, it's happening here as well, And the blessing is that, dealing with brown people in government it makes it easier to help brown people. Right. And of course, everywhere there's corruption, but it's hard to convince a different people on what to do to help a people that how to help them. You know what I mean? So we'll figure out what we're gonna do there, and Carousel will be the pilot idea, and then we'll take that and move it around the world.
So, I mean, that's the Carvin that I've come to know, is the humanitarian, right? And people don't get to see that person. They don't get to hear that person. I wish I could throw up some videos of you preaching, because I've seen some. I've hunted some down, and what I can attest to is you are who you are, you know. You walk in your truth every day. I mean, I think there's times since I've known you, I've called you over, you know, foolishness ruckus. And you always amaze me because you stay in that same place. And I'd be like, okay, he doesn't hear what I'm saying, doesn't care. But it's not that. You're just in that one place of peace, and that's what you're walking in. And you continue to be blessed because of it. And now it's on a bigger scale, so much more than you can probably even realize where it's going to take you. As much as you are a humanitarian, are you that liberal? Because I'm going to bring it back to the music just a little bit. Are you liberal with the music also when it comes to that? I know that with social media, the platform is different when it comes to artists and independent artists. And like, how does that all work right now? If you have a young person that really wants to break into the business, I'm sure it's different from then as opposed to now with everything with social media at our hands.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that because right now I have a young artist by the name of Deja Blue. I've been working with her now for 2 years.
Okay.
And when she came to me as an artist, she had ambitions
Mm-hmm.
and ideas of looking like what's already out there. And one of my things with her was like, if it's already out there, why do you need to do it? You know what
Right.
I mean? If they're already naked, then why do you need to join them? You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? It's like, as an artist, what's going to make you stand out? If everybody's doing that, then how are you going to be the first of your kind? You
Right.
know, and it took a while, you know, of convincing and showing like, yo, you can make great music without doing and saying what they say and do. If you want music to last forever, there's ways to make it beautiful, to make it last forever. And I had the opportunity to do that, and we just released the project last Wednesday, Blue Waves, and it's doing really good streaming wise. And granted, you know, there's no shade on anybody that's doing what they need to do to become great. The idea is that we just choose a different path, and you know, and if everybody's already saying that, then we should say something different to give the world at least the yin to the yang versus you ganging them up. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like let's add something different to the pot and just give our people music that make them feel good. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was music that made me feel good about being black and good about being a black man, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I was a kid, and taught me how to love and feel and be true to what I feel. So that's the goal. Is like how about we do that same thing? There's everybody has these same emotions, everybody has these same feelings. So how about we create that feeling that that this record could be their record forever.
And it's true
Yeah.
because songs of that time had so much meaning to it, so much passion. Like
Yeah.
going through a breakup, going through a bad day, you could just put on certain things and it just makes you feel so much better. I love the fact that you don't allow your music and everything that you do now to degrade women. There's so much out there. There's enough out there. We're tired of hearing it. Like we have to do better and we have to come up. And I also heard something about you too, that you don't allow anyone to drink in your studio while they're recording.
No,
Heard
we don't drink. We don't drink and we don't smoke in my room, in my building. Actually, my building is a non-drinking, non-smoking building.
that's awesome.
So yeah, because we don't need that. We don't need enhancements. Like if you tune into the frequency of God, He'll give you everything you need to hear, and whatever you trying to make, whatever you trying to create.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you don't need no pharmaceutical to take and conjure up spirits to write a record that's going to conjure up spirits. You know what I mean? Like that's witchcraft. We
Yeah.
don't need that.
So do you actually see that? Just some, not no names, of course, but do people really believe that? Like, is there a whole psychosis that goes into that? Like, I need this in order to do.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. There's a lot of artists that are like, yo, I got to get on, man, so I can get in my zone. All right.
Mhm.
We just can't, we don't, I just don't, you don't do it in my building. You
Right.
go outside, whatever you want to do, but no, like,
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. Your soundtracks are also so such a part of quite a few different movies also.
Yeah.
Um, do you like doing that?
Yeah, of course. We're right now in the process of doing that. Actually, we're in the process of creating movies as well, but working on soundtracks and making music the third person in every scene is incredible. Like music
Mhm.
makes the world go round.
Okay, that's awesome. I know one person for sure that is just been with us the whole time. I know you see her comments. I throw it up every now and then. Chanel. She went ahead and quoted, "Exercise your gift, and the size of the room gets bigger." Now, yes, I definitely will be using that. Don't worry, Carl. You will get your credit for it.
It's all good. Those God's words. You can do whatever you want to do with
But I will definitely be using that. Let me go into, because you have so many different projects that you're working on. There's so many different um, pots in the iron. I want to go ahead and have you talk to us about your book and how people can actually get it. I still don't have my copy. You know, I'm shut in right now though. But as soon as I'm able to get out, I want my signed copy.
All right, then you know that actually came up because
Hmm.
what I used to do on Facebook, I would just post CGH quotes. Kind of what I do on Instagram now. I would just post CGH quotes. So a friend of mine for my birthday, Amanda Decker, for my birthday, she took all of my quotes and put it in a book and gave it to me like, "Oh, happy birthday!" I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. That that you did that, but I need you to send me all of those quotes that you have. I need you to send me the Word file on that because I need to make this into a book. And really, it's simply just my thoughts on life, my thoughts on religion, my thoughts on it's just my own personal thoughts, and of course, it's God inspired, but it's just the way I see the world, and hopefully there's things that you can find in there and live by, and thoughts that you can take and use them for your life situation, whatever it may call for.
And what does your daily process looks like as far as getting into that mindset where you're creative and you're going into the studio? And because you're a man of God, the music comes way after that, right? That's
Yeah,
just that music is a byproduct of
yeah,
that. And I feel that that's just the avenue that God has entrusted you with because He knows He can trust you with it. And I
yeah,
think when God says He can trust us with something, that means He can make it so much bigger and expand on it because He knows that we're going to be responsible for it. And you've been responsible for it. um how do you minister, like how do you minister to artists that do come in and they're essentially kind of all over the place? It's a big name, you kind of still want to work to them. Do you have that conversation with them? Like what does that look like if I'm a, big artist and I come in cussing, and what does that conversation look like? I'm curious.
well, here's the thing. Like I don't stop anybody from being themselves. Like I'm not in that business, right? If that's who you are, then that's who you are. And if you cursing and everything, like
Mhm.
I got family members. My dad cursed like crazy. I used to curse like crazy.
Right.
So you know that the cursing doesn't generalize your character. It's just that when it's time to be creative,
Hmm.
I have standards that I'm never going to go beneath. And if we can't see eye to eye on that, then we won't be creative. So normally I interview artists before I even work with them anyway, and it's really just us sitting down, chopping it up, eating, talking, and they don't know that they're being interviewed, but they're being interviewed for me to get an understanding of their character. And if they don't look at the art the way I see it, or if they can't in our conversation, it doesn't feel like it's there,
Right.
then that's all we'll have is a great conversation, and then they'll leave, and then that'll be that. But if it looks like something is there, then we'll talk and we'll drop some jewels, and we'll probably talk for hours before we even make music, and then the music will come after that.
What was it like working with Jill Scott? I'm a huge Jill Scott fan. like big time. Just her whole, and I noticed there's kind of a trend with the people that you have worked with. They just all have that real love, soulful kind of flow to them. Like, what was she like working with her?
Well, first of all, Jill is amazing. Like she's just an amazing human being. And I my first of all, Jill's my cousin too. So,
Hmm.
but my first experience with Jill at a Touch of Jazz is she was just a humble person that was looking to get heard, and she had the opportunity to put her poetry to music. So she just came in with this notebook of poems and figured out. We worked with her to figure out how to turn it into a record, and
Hmm.
really that was it. And but Jill is like she's uh, Mother Jill. You know what I mean? She's like Queen Jill. You got to respect her. Yeah,
Yeah, and Mary.
yeah. Mary was great, and Mary was a
Whew.
surprise. You know, because a lot of people tend to believe that she's not a great singer,
Yeah.
but Mary came in the studio, listened to her verse,
All right.
cut that joint and knocked it out. Like the first take was excellent. And then she was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let me just do it a couple more times. And she did it like four more times, but yeah, she killed it. It was like there's no rap. Mary is a beast.
She is. I remember when Mary J. Blige came out, and I remember I was in New York. I think I had just come up from like around that time, a couple years before that, come up from Jamaica, and it was just like Mary could sing anything, and it's just a whole vibe.
Yeah.
You don't see
Hmm.
that today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's here, but it's different, right? The kids are listening to something different. They're tuned into something different, so they have their own vibe, and they have their Daniel Caesars and Scissors and hers, and you know, so they have it. And then you know, the same way we had the Marvin Gaye's and
Mm-hmm.
we had the Teddy Rileys and all of that, and then we had the Joe Ski Loves and Luke Skywalker and you know my posse on Broadway. You know what I mean? So it's like it's
Yeah,
really the same thing.
yeah.
And of course, we were the ones getting criticized back then because our parents was like, "That ain't music. That's some nonsense." So you know, I was trying not to become my parents, but you know,
It's
so
hard. It's hard. It's
it's hard. It's hard understanding what the change is, but it ain't for me. It ain't my change. So instead of shunning it like I at one point, like I hate
Mhm.
this, these kids are whack. Now I kind of listen to hear what they're talking about, and if I get a chance to work with some of the youngins, then I give them some wisdom, you know, and
Yeah.
show them how to take this career and this platform that they have and how to use it
Mhm.
to make them pay for
Yeah.
them for the rest of their life and their children too. Yeah.
Give him that OG vibe.
Yeah. Just wisdom,
Yeah.
it's better to have somebody helping you along the way than trying to stop you from
Oh
going. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah. Because I think you have to accept people no matter where they are. I mean, talent is talent. Art is art. There's no rules when it comes to art, and I don't know if there's any rules when it comes to talent. Some might
No.
like it, and some might not. I myself, when I hear a lot of the rappers now, I have to be like, what
Yeah.
is that English? You know what I So to me, it may sound like something, but then to somebody else, they're vibing with it. So we can't
Yeah.
stay closed. We always have to be open.
Yeah.
What's next, Carvin? What's next for Carvin?
What's next? Well, so for all of these years, I've been like contemplating. I want to put out an album. I want to put out a Carvin Haggins album.
All right. I'm
So
saying I've been working on it, Carvin.
yeah, so I finally mustered
Mhm.
up
Okay.
the idea to do it, and so
That's
on
awesome.
Friday, on Good Friday, we'll be releasing yeah, In the Key of Love,
What?
and yeah, and it's Carvin Haggins presents In the Key of Love, and I have a lot of friends that are going to be performing on this project, so it's going to be pretty dope.
Oh my God! Congratulations! You didn't ask me.
Well, you're too good. I want you to outshine everybody on you.
Yeah. I'll blow them away. I'll blow them away.
Right. Exactly,
Where
exactly.
where can we find it when it does come out? Because I'm definitely gonna be looking for it now.
Yeah, it's streaming on all of the major
Uh,
platforms. Yeah, it will be available on Good Friday.
you can't
And it's just
uh, uh,
yeah,
just
snippet. And it's good. It's good too. It's like some real good music. And here's the thing, right? Some of these records are like 20 years old.
oh wow.
Some of them are like, yeah, some of them but you wouldn't even be able to tell. But some of them are like 20 years old, and some of them are like just made last month. But it's an incredible ensemble of music,
Oh,
and it's star-studded with all of my friends, all of the people that I've worked with through the years, and hearing them in different voices that you never heard them in.
just one. Can we just get one?
Nah, nah, nah. Actually, you know what? If you go to Instagram, you can. Actually, today I got to post one, but you go to Instagram, you'll see. But we have some new artists. An artist by the name of Bovo on there. Deja Blue is on there. Olivia Leslie, she's on there. She's from
Wow.
London. And yeah, so it's a couple of new artists on there, but then there's some artists that we all know and love, and it's just feel good music. So if anybody who know me and know my penmanship, that's what this is about. That penmanship that God that allowed me to use.
And that you do use, but we just want like a little insight, something we could kind of just hold on to. But I know we're not gonna get it. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
wait.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's worth it. I'm dropping little snippets. If you go on at Carvin Haggins on Instagram, it's there.
Let
Yeah.
me go ahead and put that up so everyone knows how they can. So it's Carvin Haggins on Instagram.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely be looking out for it.
Yeah,
I'm
good
excited.
deal. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited too. Actually, it's dope, and I had a lot of people help me out. My partner Ivan helped me out. Ivan Barry is one of our partners. He's like a partner, silent partner of our production team, Johnny Smurf Smith. So if you look on there, you see Carvin Haggins, Ivan Barrios, and Johnny Smurf Smith. He helped me out. James Poyser helped me out. Corey Church and Kyrie Gunn helped me out. A friend of mine named Fuss, he did some mastering, as well as my dude Irv Johnson of Columbia Sound. He did mastering, and man, the work just sounds incredible. Just incredible. And this actually was supposed to be released on my birthday on December 10th, but everything kind of got a little pushed around.
Mhm.
But we're here now.
And it's more
It's
than
a
enough.
God's time.
And it's more than enough time to get a lot of things done with this shutdown.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm be working on. I'll be working on the greatness that I'm trying to put over. Trying to get together at this time. But I want to say thank you so much for joining us. I've been seeing the comments just come and go, people on and off. And the way my glasses are set up and there's sunlight in my face, Jesus.
Yep, I would love to be responding, but it's like blur, 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 exercise, blur, blur, wow,
Uh-huh.
blur. Mm.
It's all right. It's all right. That comes with getting older, and it's called wisdom. You
Oh yeah, listen, I love growing older. I was told I'd be dead at 19, so
Wow.
I'm at 50 right now. So
So
every day I grow older, it works good.
leave everybody with some bit of inspiration, especially in this time with everything that we're going through, and we'll end on that.
Well, here's what I've learned through my entire life. All the things that I've dealt with, all the things that I've been through. At the time I was going through it, it felt like something that I shouldn't have been going through, but it actually was what I needed to go through to elevate me to my next level. So what you're going through right now is for elevation, and the bottom line is God is in control. So I know God is my father, and my father's going to make sure I'm all right. So he's always in control. So however way it goes, I'm satisfied with what God is going to do. So I'm not concerned with what I want to do or my will. It's God's will, because His will is always going to be better than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to end it. You have been such an inspiration to us.
Well,
Inspiration.
thank you for having me.
Oh man, I was joking around with you before, and I was like, we gotta come together and do a whole fun talent show one day. That would that would be exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be
That would be
exciting.
funny.
I know it really would. It really would.
Yeah.
I think you'd have a lot of people signed up to actually perform for you. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. Um, I continue to pray for you, continue to ask God to bless you, let Him multiply your hands, let your feet just be anointed. The ground is yours wherever they land, and
Yeah.
continue to just be a blessing to everyone that you come in contact with.
Well, thank you. I received that, and the same to you.
Absolutely. I see
Yeah.
it. Thanks, Carvin.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.